I am Coach Sess, motivated and determined, and you are listening to Words with a Mad Coach. Welcome, Mad World. It is I, Coach Sess, and it is a good day to be motivated and determined. Why? Because you should have something that you are thankful for and a dream that you are chasing, or just a short-term, near-future goal. Let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you got going on. Let me know what is impacting your world. It may be something that might help me. It may be something that I learn about and help someone else. In the world of MMA, let's take a look at what we have going on tonight. Before I get to that, I'll give you some things that I'm thankful for. I am currently in negotiations with LCA management to work out some arrangements and deals and upcoming fights for some of my fighters such as James Quigg and Damon Blackshear, who are pros. I am thankful and want to congratulate Anthony Wright, a fighter who'll be fighting on Fight Lab in March 17th. He just earned his brown belt. Congratulations to Anthony for putting in the hard work and many years of blood, sweat, and tears. Also, I'm thankful because Fight Lab is offering me an opportunity that they will announce later on, sometime in the near future, today or maybe tomorrow, but this week coming up. I'm gonna have some interaction with the next Fight Lab coming up on March 17th, and I'll be giving you my impressions of that show as it comes up, in terms of the main events, in terms of the titles, in terms of the feel, the atmosphere. So stand by and look out for that upcoming information. What's going on tonight? Saturday night, of course, we have the one thing I noticed about Saturday night that I liked. We have the Southeast region, the Southeast that I'm used to, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Virginia. We have that whole region, and it's a rare occasion when all of the states that I like to travel to and fight in are putting on events at the exact same time. That is good news. That is great news. Let's start with the bottom. Let's go to Georgia, Atlanta. They have NFC 103 Saturday night. Brandon Sales taking on Bolo Carthan. Been on the card with Brandon. Really talented guy. I believe I was at the conflict where he KO'd Adrian Henderson, which is not something easy to do. So, and I tell you why I like that whole Georgia scene. They have so many good gyms around one another that they can't help but create a combustible atmosphere. It's kind of like when you take 9 people and you put them in a 3-bedroom apartment. Sooner or later, you may start out, on good terms because, hey, you just need a place to stay. So you say, hey, we're gonna coexist. But after a while, when you get to see their habits, their tendencies, and the likes and dislikes, all of a sudden, boom, combustible atmosphere. And that's what I like about Georgia. I just think that pound for pound, they have a lot of good gyms in and around themselves that are capable of sustaining and being standalones. Whereas when I look at South Carolina, they have a lot of good gyms, but they tend to cooperate a little bit. They work together, they train, they cross-train, they overlap. So you don't see that smack talk atmosphere coming out of South Carolina as much as you hear it from Georgia. And and some people could misinterpret it as a self-destructive atmosphere, but I think it just does a great job of getting attention. I mean, I don't go down there that often unless one of my guys are participating on an event. However, I follow them and I watch whatever fights that make stream or somebody's posting one. It is interesting. They do a good job of getting your attention and making you follow the hype a little bit. 864 in South Carolina. They've got Keith Rockstar Richardson on that card. I think Roger Carroll just made that card, taking on a short notice fight. Jared Scoggins is on that card. And 864, this is their premier event. I saw a video, Roger Carroll, one of his fighters, walking into a hotel, and 864 had a holographic of their logo on the hotel floor flashing. I said, oh my God, that's pretty deep. And they've been making some incredible posts, saying, it's going to be the only place where the title fights are going to get 5 and 5, 5,000 and 5,000 for showing up and winning. That they seem to have some push behind them, but at the same time, you've got to make sure the best fighters are matched up to fight the best, because when you're talking that type of incentive, then you are talking competition for Bellator, competition for LFA, competition for UFC. And if you're going to do that, then you're going to have to produce the product. You're going to have the good matchups, the best fighters, the engagement, the drama. You're going to have to give the fans something that's going to keep their attention and keep them locked in and keep them coming back. 864, I'm going to investigate a little bit more in terms of their 864 pay-per-view stuff, because it's not necessarily on Flow Combat. Let's look at North Carolina. Of course, we have the UFC, and that's going to be in Charlotte. Derek Brunson taking on Jacare Souza. Brunson's ranked number 8 and Souza's ranked number 3. They fought before in Strikeforce. Souza was able to get the win. I believe it was I don't want to call it fluke, but it was off our counterpunch. And back then, Brunson was kind of just exploring his punching skills at the time, his striking skills overall. He got caught coming in. He had landed a clean shot on Souza, so he thought he could just come in and take over, but he got caught. He got clipped in the middle, and he hasn't exactly gotten rid of that behavior where he chases a little bit and tends to expose himself. He still can get caught, but oddly enough, the fights prior to his UFC days, he had the same number of finishes, roughly by KO and submission, as he does now competing against guys in the UFC. So the difference there is he's still able to finish guys, but guys at a higher level. And Souza is not really known for his KOs. He is known for his finishing ability, but it's not really his KOs. So I think that Brunson now has learned who he is and changed some things about his striking game. I think he'll be able to go in on Saturday night in front of, a lot of his home fans. He's from Wilmington, but, he's known in the area all over the state very well. So I think he's going to go in there and probably stop Souza, because he has shown a lot of improvement in terms of keeping his calm, and because Souza's already knocked him out, he knows this time to be more careful than anywhere else where he's been. He's been a little reckless in guys that he kind of overlooked, like Robert Whitaker, but I think now he knows to stay behind his defense, because he has the pop. When you have the pop, it becomes your enemy, because it makes you feel invincible. And now that he's been hurt a little bit, and he's also remembering the sting of this loss, he's going to come in, he's going to stay behind his defense, he's going to work behind a jab, he's going to set up his opportunities, and wham-a-lam. And I don't think that the jiu-jitsu is going to be a factor in the sense that no one's really taken down Brunson. And Souza has to get you more in a scramble. And Brunson's a very athletic guy, so I don't think scrambling against a wrestler is going to be that shocking. If Souza does win the fight, what Souza has to do is just that, win the fight where he's wanted the most, and that is via submission. Get Brunson down to the ground, get to Brunson's back, put him in a situation where he can't defend, and go to town. Whether that be a ground and pound, whether that be a submission attempt, or whether that just be wearing him down so that he has to carry his weight over the course of the number of rounds scheduled. And then just get a unanimous decision. He's going to have to do something, because I don't think that, again, Brunson's not the same guy he was before, where he got caught in the middle. So this is not just saying, hey, Coach Sess, you're in North Carolina, Brunson's North Carolina, you're rooting because it's North Carolina. No, I'm not doing that. I'm actually looking at the numbers. I'm looking at the changes over the years. And right now, it's in Brunson's favor. And another guy on that card, my Team Rock country cousin. Actually, we're their country cousins, but nonetheless, Jordan Rinaldi taking on Gregor Gillespie. The same thing here. Gillespie's 10-0, Jordan's 13-5. It's just too much experience. I don't think that Jordan's gotten old yet. He's he hasn't had those wars that have really hurt him, and he has slight height advantage, slight reach advantage, slight leg reach advantage, and the experience advantage. He has more submissions. Doesn't have the pop, but Gillespie doesn't have the pop that you would think of in terms of a true finisher. A true finisher has, that 70-80% knockout ratio. And I don't think that Jordan, just looking at Jordan's resume, he's fought guys similar to Gillespie. And I don't think Gillespie has necessarily fought guys similar to Rinaldi. So again, I'm just looking at the details, looking at the information, not basing this on, hey, this is my North Carolina Team Rock brother. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just looking at the data, and I just got to say it's Rinaldi for right now. How does Gillespie win? He's got to make it an early fight. He's got to do where his knockouts and his submissions have come from, have been in the early round 1, early part of round 2, and that's about it. Whereas Jordan, it's round 3. If he gets finished at all, it's in round 3, and if he loses a decision, it's in the later rounds. So Gillespie's got to take it to him early. That's what he has to do, but I don't think he'll be able to do it. He's got to have an amazing round 1, and then pretty much coast and rest and recuperate and attack, and then recuperate and then rest and then build it back up and attack. I don't think he can do that to Jordan. If you saw Jordan's last UFC outing with that Von Flue choke, Jordan's on another level right now. He's amazing. So we got two good North Carolina guys fighting on a UFC card, on the main card itself. That is fantastic. Look forward to that. But again, that NFC is on Saturday night as well, and that 864 is Saturday night as well. And in Virginia, we have Spartica. And normally I would not talk about Spartica in the sense that I'm talking about other pro events, but Spartica is actually doing their first Pro-Am. So you're going to have a lot of good guys who are already pro and some guys making their pro debuts. Mitch Aguiar, who has been a long time champion for that organization, is making his pro debut against Brandon Pennington. Alexander Olave versus Thomas Blair. That is a quality matchup. Chad Wigington taking on Damon Minor. Minor is a beast. I have the privilege of training with a wrestling teammate of his, a fighter by the name of Josh Austin, who I got to train for roughly about 9 months or so. And Josh's takedown is a killer takedown. And Josh, co-signed on Damon Minor by saying, "Hey, he's better than me." I'm like, oh my god. And I've watched Minor fight in Spartica a couple times. Now he's a 3-0 pro. He's impressive. A lot of good fights on that card. So all of our Tara Graf is on that card. Imani Smith, real good names the normal names, Kasim Ruffin, normal names that you normally hear associated with Spartica. These guys are going for amateur titles and making that pro jump. So Jacob Ashley's on that card. I wish him the best. He just lost a title fight to my fighter, Isaiah, the featherweight king Monroe. But we tend to I don't know what it is. It's like when we run into guys that give us a really good fight, we tend to like them, and then their next outing, I like rooting for them. So I hope Jacob Ashley picks up the win. Heavyweight from North Carolina, Kyle Wright. He's still an amateur, but this guy's got a lot of potential. Lot of potential, Kyle Wright. Good card overall, and I think that our original region has done very well in putting on some quality events in the last 2 or 3 years, and it just seems like nothing's slowing the Southeast region down. Good weekend for MMA. One of the things I will do is try to keep you up to date on any changes at the last second. I am Coach Sess, and you've had words with the Mad Coach.